Do any of you remember that one series about fruits with faces and their crazy adventures? You know the one, aired on Cartoon Network, Annoying Orange. I remembered watching this show when I was younger, and oddly enough, I liked it. Some people said it was too weird and random for them, but that's why I found it so enjoyable. I like the strange, okay? Plus, the characters were something. Orange, our annoying protagonist who tends to get his friends into a lot of shenanigans. Apple, the easily provoked member of the group who dislikes Orange the most. Pear, the smart character and tends to be the voice of reason of the group. Passion fruit, the girl boss of the group. Grapefruit, the rival to Orange, and who I would characterize as a jock. Obviously, there's more characters besides them, but I'll just stop here. Now, I could continue explaining more about this series, but that's not what this video is about. As you can probably guess, I tend to explore multiple analog horror stories on YouTube to make videos on, and today is no different. Today we will be talking about an analog horror series, and if you haven't guessed it, an analog horror about Annoying Orange. Woo! First Batman, now Annoying Orange. Give me more of the crazy. But seriously, I'm not joking. Found on the channel Gloomster is an analog horror series centered around Annoying Orange. And was this series made as a joke by the creator? Most likely. Am I still going to take this video seriously? I'll try. From what I've seen, effort was put into the series and I couldn't let myself continue on with life without exposing it to someone else. So you're all watching it with me. If I'm aware of its existence, then you have to be aware of it too. And if you need a little bit more convincing, this series basically about going insane and a lot of murders, and that's all I'm gonna tell you. If this gets you interested to continue on, then sit back, relax, get a snack, and as always, my name is Ripa Estrella. Let's explore. Annoying Orange, analog horror. For the first video of the series, we see Orange calling out to Apple, but this footage isn't normal. It's like there's a red filter over the footage with a bit of static, and at first you would assume Orange was going to constantly repeat Apple's name in order to annoy him. However, the next thing Orange said was knife. This is when suddenly a knife plunges down and slices Apple in half. After this is practically a massacre of all the fruits in the kitchen. A pumpkin gets its inside scooped out, an orange gets squeezed, a pineapple gets butchered, a tomato gets blended, and more fruits get cut up into pieces. Additionally, we see a group of fruits staring in horror as all of this goes down, and in the background we hear sad and creepy music to accompany the bloodshed. Oddly enough, it was a little disturbing to watch despite it being fruits. Now, the interesting thing about this video is the description, because apparently the poster of the video stated that while they were buying some oranges, they accidentally knocked against a shelf which revealed a VHS tape that dropped to the floor. They took it home and the video we just watched was found on that tape. Maybe the tape was used to leave a message? To show us that by cutting fruits, it's as disturbing as watching a real massacre. Could a fruit be the one who made this tape? Or a twisted individual who loves torturing fruits? In order to find out, let's continue. Hey Apple. It begins with footage of Orange annoying Apple by constantly repeating his name, and there were moments where it almost sounded like Orange's voice was echoing or glitching. Eventually, after a bit of back and forth, the two took a moment to catch their breaths until Orange called out to Apple again. Apple, now fully annoyed, yelled out, "What?" And this is when the surroundings turn dark and we see Orange in the center with an intense face. We also hear the sounds of a knife being sharpened before the footage corrupts and everything turns red. The footage then transitions to a different clip and we see an image of Apple appearing on the screen with text reading, "Missing." It was calm for a moment during this until suddenly we see a corrupt Orange appeared on the screen next to Apple, and while he was laughing, we also hear the sounds of screaming. The screams are likely coming from Apple, who now has gaping holes for eyes and a mouth. We then see Apple rot away, and the footage glitches before switching away to a voiceover explaining the process of bottling apple juice. With that, the video ends, and just like in the previous video, we're going to check the description. According to the poster, they snuck into the local supermarket storage room to steal some shoes to sell later, but instead, after tripping over some apples and oranges, they found this VHS tape. The tape obviously being the video we just watched. And honestly, Orange is starting to seem like a serial killer. He annoys Apple, which is all fun and games, but here, it's like something snapped within him. Annoying Orange seems to be going a little insane. Let's continue. Annoying Orange.mp4. First, a warning for photosensitive individuals, and then we get welcomed to Chartmart. This tape is for the workers, specifically those on the shelf team, and for the fourth tape, it's about fruits and vegetables. First beginning with apples, which the footage glitches for a moment and shows an apple getting sliced, before telling us which aisles they belong to. Then we see tomatoes, which briefly get blended, before showing us their proper aisle. Now, oranges in their aisles, but the strange thing is the sudden lack of music. We then get a close-up to the oranges and single one out. This is when the surroundings turn dark, including the orange, which suddenly eyes appeared on that orange before everything glitches, and we switch away to a view of a house. We then start to hear banging and get shown what's inside the house. Stairs, a basement, knives, barrels, etc. With that, we then unexpectedly switch away to an American flag paired with music before showing us missing posters for apple, tomato, and pineapple. There's also a number to call, and this is when the video ends. As for the description, let me tell you, I believe the poster might be on hard times. According to them, they burnt down their family business for insurance money. So money must be an issue for them, and now for whatever reason, they're visiting the site of the burned business, and this is when they discovered this tape. Of course, it's a little damaged, but as we saw, there was still a bit of content for us to see. Honestly, I'm very curious about the poster's life now, but you know what? Let's just continue on. Hey, pineapple. We open with Dane County Sheriff's Office with a special announcement. Quick pause, the creator of Annoying Orange is Dane Boedigheimer, so the fact that the county's called Dane Bone, I just thought that was a little interesting idea. Anyways, the special announcement is specifically centering around Case 088. There are 3 victims and 1 is missing while the other 2 are deceased. Apple and tomato are deceased while pineapple is missing. We then see a suspect illustration in which the suspect is unnamed before proceeding onto footage of an image of pineapple floating around the screen, and following pineapple was an image of the suspect. If I had to assume, maybe this is showing us what happened. Pineapple was getting chased down by the suspect. Speaking of which, once we see the 2 collide, text appears which reads, "You're it." Then we see pineapple indoors, and for a second everything was calm until the suspect appeared behind pineapple and the sounds of screams could be heard. Pineapple then started to stretch and everything continued to become more intense until everything stopped. We stay on a black screen for a moment, then switch away to footage of fruits getting blended, one including a pineapple. As they were getting blended, muffled screams of agony could be heard until eventually that quieted down, and the man happily drank the beverage. Oh, I get it. Pineapple is assumed missing because they couldn't find any remains, and it turns out they couldn't find any remains because pineapple was consumed entirely. Yikes. The video ends there, and turning to the description, our clumsy protagonist stripped again while visiting the local police department to find some firearms, but instead they found a tape, which is what we just watched. Now, what I find so interesting about this video is the final moments of it. Did the man hear the screams of agony or just didn't even cared? Like, we're humans, so it's not wrong for him to drink the drink, but like it still feels wrong because, you know, these are sentient fruits, you know? Anyways, that's an unsettling thought to think about, so let's continue. Annoying Orange, 1928 cartoon. In this video, it's clearly very old footage, and presented by Dane Cartoons, it's Annoying Orange, Autumn Walk. It kind of feels like a mouse AVI reference, because it is. We see Orange taking a pleasant stroll passing multiple buildings until suddenly his happy expression changes to a sad one. Orange then found himself walking into complete darkness with what I believe is fog consuming him and the screen until suddenly we snap back to the buildings, and this time Orange appears more frightened and is moving more quicker. Not only that, but the sounds of screams and groaning could be heard in the background, and unexpectedly Orange's face turned more disturbed until everything stopped, and we see a smiling Orange before switching to text. When translated, it says, "So you translated it. Impressive. Thanks for viewing, bro." Aw, that's nice. Anyways, the video ends there, and the description explains that the poster was looking through old footage reels to find some lost media to sell for millions, but found this reel in a stinky box. Cool. Honestly, I feel really bad for this person. They're just like, you know, really desperate for money. But hey, they're finding some strange and interesting stuff, so whatever. Now back to the video. This makes me think a lot about Orange's headspace. First happy, then sad, then terrified, and a disturbed, corrupt face before finally a smile again. Maybe this is telling us that over time, Orange became a more disturbed individual. Speaking of which, we actually get an interesting piece of information from the next video, so before I continue on with that discussion, let's continue. Hey Mango. It starts off oddly normal. Orange is annoying Mango and nothing too unusual is happening, that is until Mango claims that Orange is using humor to keep people from getting too close. Orange was a bit defensive, and Mango continues by saying that with all the carnage Orange has seen, it only makes sense that that's why he is the way he is. Orange then told Mango that he has a friend he could talk to, and suddenly everything turned red and Orange's face turned more serious and unsettling. We then see a knife drop down on Mango and Orange watches as Mango gets tortured. We even zoom in on an eye and hear Orange giggling until we return back to Mango, who isn't looking too good. Mango then gets sliced and we transition to an end screen where we see a speech bubble next to Orange saying, "You're next." Oh. And in the final moments of the video, Orange says that Mango looks peaceful and laughs. Crazy. By the way, this video was found when the poster was going shopping, and it was under a shelf. Now let's go to the conclusion so I can share my theories and thoughts. Conclusion. My theory is that Orange is traumatized, maybe even conditioned. After seeing so many of his friends perish and he's seemingly the only one who never gets attacked, something probably snaps within his mind. He's gotten so used to all the carnage that he doesn't bat an eye and probably welcomes it after a while of being exposed to it for too long. And because he keeps witnessing so many of his friends' death, he doesn't let any newcomers get too close. And as I said before, he never gets attacked. Whoever is doing the slicing and blending is keeping Orange alive to witness all of this, maybe in hopes to make Orange their protege. This is just complete guessing territory. Whoever this person is making Orange go crazy intentionally. As for the person posting all these videos, they're just a regular bystander who found all these tapes because they're clumsy and trying to make a little bit of money in their lives. They got roped into this by accident, and they find the majority of these tapes weird and bizarre, which honestly, understandable. But anyways, my conclusion to all of this is that Orange was slowly conditioned and driven insane and now is a bit psycho, who refuses to let anyone get too close and just watches all the bloodshed. If this was actual people rather than fruits, it would be a lot more disturbing. Well, actually, it's still disturbing regardless. It's like we're watching a massacre, even if it is fruits. Anyways, this is the annoying Orange analog horror videos found on the channel Gloomster. Maybe there will be more videos in the future. If you're interested, the links are in the description. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, subscribe, do that funny little notification thing, maybe leave a comment. Here's my Twitter, and I better not catch you dying on me. Goodbye!